Overheard. What's the funniest thing that's happened to you during sex? My chest and hers came together in exactly the right way to form a vacuum. When we changed position, there was this cartoon-like schmack when we pulled apart. It killed the mood and we both broke down in fits of giggles. Good lord. Similar thing with me and my partner, but our chests come together in just the right way to form what is basically an armpit fart. We took it as a sign we were meant to be together. Either first or second time I had sex with my ex, we'd literally just finished, as in I hadn't even pulled out of her yet and her mom walks in. We both freeze and I daren't look because her mom was a bit fierce and all I hear is, "Oh, I thought you were just friends," and then the door closed again. My ex bursts out laughing and about 5 minutes later I hear her mom on the phone telling her sister. I remember watching this scene. The ending was quite different though. We were doing the deed and the guy felt a fart coming. To his credit, he warned me and tried to cover the noise by singing in a high-pitched voice. For a solid 10 seconds, he was farting machine gun style while yodeling loudly. Still not the worst sex I've had. I was sitting on his face for the first time while he ate me out and I squirted without even realizing. Instant waterboard. I noticed he made a weird face and thought maybe I was smothering him too much, but instead he made a run for the bathroom to spit it all out. Killed the mood because we were laughing so hard, and now I joke to him about how he doesn't swallow. We've been in an ongoing Nerf war since I want to say February. Recently, she pulled a pistol from underneath her pillow and shot me point blank while I came. Edit, wow. Thanks everyone. To clarify, I was on top and she shot me in the chin. She was aiming for my mouth. Mate, I'm sorry to tell you, but I think you've lost the Nerf war. There's no topping that kill. When you propose to her, make sure it's insanely fancy, but instead of pulling out a ring, pull out a Nerf gun. You'll win the war. I met a guy off of Craigslist once. I only share this story with my closest friends, so here goes nothing. I was trying to get over someone I loved who had just moved away, so I decided to do this on a whim. The guy from Craigslist literally looked like the spitting image of Paul Rudd, no joke. So I was like, fuck yes, let's do this. We started making out and our clothes started coming off. Things started getting hot and heavy. I grab his hair to pull on it a little and it fucking comes off. His hair was in my hands. I realized within about 5 seconds of silence that I had just pulled a toupee off of his head. And then I started to cry because wow, I can't trust anybody, not even their hair. I spent the next 10 minutes trying to convince him that I wasn't crying because of his toupee. It partially was and wasn't. Looking back at it now, I think it's hilarious, but at the time I was mortified. When I first started dating my girlfriend, I stepped on a bottle of lube, spraying it all over her wall, and then slipped on it, fell on the floor, then subsequently farted on impact. 2 seconds later, the Canada Day fireworks went off in the harbor downtown. True story. I wish I could make that my signature move. Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. That sounds like it would be straight out of a sitcom. I don't know why, but we were laughing at something before we had sex, and it just kept on popping inside our minds while we were having sex. So we ended up laughing while we were doing it, until we finally stopped having sex just so we could have a good laugh. In the end, we were too exhausted from laughing that we just fell asleep naked. One of the first times I ever had sex with my wife, I was trying to jack off on her face and I was using my spit as lube. She said, "You're getting spit on the face," but I heard spit on my face, so I did, and we both died of laughter. Goodness, first time and you're nutting on her face? Why? Boyfriend was going down on me. He started doing a Cookie Monster impression while he was down there. Made me laugh so hard I let out a little fart right on his face. In middle of it, we heard her little brother jokingly yell from the other side of the door, "Don't be fucking..." Then he ran in. Didn't have any time to hide, so I just stared at him. He yelled, "Oh fuck," and ran out of the room. Other thing that is more embarrassing than funny, but my GF's mother has the tendency to either not knock at all, or knock on the door but no wait at all before rushing in. Most of the time, we've managed to hide. Of course, she probably always knows what has been happening, but at least she hasn't seen me fully naked a whole lot. But once, my GF was sitting on top of me and her mom came in. GF managed to grab a blanket, but she literally sitting on top of me isn't obvious at all. Edit. No, her door doesn't have a lock. One of the very first times I ever had sex, I looked out my window to see my neighbor having sex with his girlfriend. He noticed me and nodded, "What's up," mid-stroke. Later found out that the girl he was having sex with at that moment was my neighbor from the house that I had just moved away from like 6 months prior. My new neighbor was fucking my old neighbor and I saw them while having sex with my girlfriend. Small world. I have epilepsy. One night I was going at it in my bed and lo and behold I have a seizure. So naturally my parents hear something and have to come in to me seizing on the bed, dick out, porn on the computer. Very embarrassing to have to find out from them since I lose a bit of memory of the event and am unconscious during it. All I can say is it must have been one hell of an orgasm to make me seize, more than the usual jerky coming movements anyway. That's horrible and I'm sorry you have to live with that memory, but I laughed a bit. When I was a kid, I stumbled upon one of those scrambled spice channels and saw some anal. Didn't realize you could stick stuff up there, so I had the bright idea of shoving one of those multicolored pens up my butt. Went so far, it got stuck, and I spent a good hour trying to push it out. Ended up getting small hemorrhoid that I have to this day. Doctor keeps telling me to eat more fiber, but I know the truth. The best story Reddit has about this is the guy who was having sneaky spoon sex with his girl under a blanket when her dad or brother came in and plopped down next to them. So he stayed there, still inside her and flaccid, for the rest of the movie until he left. No, I just cringed so hard. Was mid having sex and my dad, who is blind, walks in, not realizing what we were doing, and immediately starts complaining about Boris Johnson. My favorite one yet, laughed out loud. A cop knocked on the window of the car we were in. He seemed more embarrassed than us. Turns out he'd been dating the girl I was with. Very awkward to say the least. I felt kinda shitty about that.
Man, never told this story to anyone before, so here goes nothing. I met a girl in a bar. She was really pretty, tall, blonde, thin, and dressed like an indie chick. She buys me a couple of drinks at the bar, but by then I'm piss drunk. The music is blaring so loudly that I can't hear a single word she says, but she's giggling and having a good time. We eventually go out to the side of the bar for a smoke, and pretty soon we start making out. Bar's closing, people are walking out, and eventually we make it to my buddy's car to go home. We get inside and head downstairs to the basement, which was my living quarters at the time. Pretty soon, we're making out on the bed some more. As we're making out, she reaches for my zipper and puts her hand down my jeans and stops midway. As soon as she reached for my peen, she pulls it out, looks down, and says, "Are you fucking kidding me?" while borderline strangling it. Turns out, she was actually a lesbian. Since I had long hair and no facial hair at the time, she thought I was also a lesbian, so of course it must have caught her off guard or something. She politely tells me that she is not interested in men, and I reluctantly, but respectively, tuck my pride back in. We go back to join the party upstairs for more drinks until she gets a friend to pick her up, and just like that, she was gone into the black of night and my balls a deeper shade of blue. I was drunk off my butt, wanted to have sex more than my penis did, went soft within 10 seconds of insertion, but felt I might as well keep pounding and hope it comes back. It didn't. Went at it with a limp dick for some minute till the sex sort of petered out and we just sort of ended up laid there in silence until well, I oughta head home, I got a thing in the morning. Nobody had a good time that night. Met at a school concert, went back to her dorm. Both her dermal piercings came out when we were having sex and I got blood all over myself. She went to the bathroom to clean up and I tried to leave quietly, and then her roommate accused me of rape and chased me down the hall yelling "rapist" as I ran out without a shirt on and blood all over my torso. This was 100% consensual. I just kind of had a WTF moment and decided I wanted to dip. You win and lose for the worst one I've read so far. She said she wanted to give me a blowjob, got on her knees and pulled down my pants and then just screamed. She had never seen a penis before and didn't know that they were supposed to be that big. Not bragging, she just thought it was supposed to be the size of a finger. She thought something was wrong with me. When I told her nothing was wrong, she got extremely embarrassed and started crying. It was an incredibly awkward experience. What made it stranger was that she was a few years older than me and had made jokes about how she was the experienced cougar and I was the young stud. After she calmed down, she left and I didn't hear from her for a few weeks. So, what happened after a few weeks? She apologized and said she was just inexperienced and concerned, but would love to try again. We did try, but the rhythm and passion was never there, so it never got back to that point. An ex of mine curled and farted right in succession when we were nearly at the point of climax. She was absolutely mortified, but I thought it was the funniest thing ever at the time. And it honestly just made me feel more comfortable with her. It was, however, very sad how bad she felt about it. She legitimately thought I would never want to touch her again simply for having natural bodily emissions. Honestly, it never fails to depress when I hear the kinds of things that partners think will make me less attracted to them.
I remember she had like the loudest queef ever, and she was so embarrassed, but I couldn't contain my laughter. Oh my god, I think I was crying of laughter. It wasn't the first time she had queefed during sex, but this time it was so loud, oh boy. I felt so bad afterwards. She became a bit self-conscious because I was her first ever sexual partner. So after the fact, I remember we sat down and talked about how it was natural and there was nothing wrong with it. I mean, she was my wife, so I obviously was supportive. But I'll never forget that loud-ass queef. With my ex, first time having sex, we were alone at her house, decided to slap ass with her on top, put all of my full force into it. Missed her ass cheek, slapped myself in the balls so hard I couldn't see for 45 seconds. I still laugh about it to this day. My wife was trying to do oral sex from my right side rather than on my left as she normally would. After about 30 seconds of uncomfortable shifting on her part, she asked to move to the other side. I immediately questioned her. "You aren't ambidextrous?" She snorted, which made me laugh. Then she started giggling with my cock in her mouth, and before long we were both crying from laughing so hard. No idea how or why that popped into my head, but it really killed the mood. That was all for today. Share your stories in the comments and we will definitely answer you. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell. See you in the next video. Your team overheard.